intentionally, that's wrong.
That's right, to cause a loss, right? And morale hazard is when they're careless because they know they're insured. I don't know why your book comes back to this, but they do. So we've already got that. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about are the characteristics of an insurable risk. Okay? All right. All right, characteristics of an insurable risk. This is from the insurance company's viewpoint. This is what makes something insurable, right? So the first is they want it to be a pure risk. Okay? Insurance is not designed to finance speculative risks, right? It's not designed for that. They don't want that. They want something where you're going to have a loss or you're not going to have anything, right? So they want a pure risk, and the insurance company makes the insured whole. Okay. The second characteristic is they want the risk to be fortuitous. Fortuitous means the loss should be accidental, from the standpoint of the insured. And unintended. Really the same thing. So vandalism and arson are intentional losses, right? But as long as the insured didn't do them, they can be covered, right? You know, last company I worked for, I was their general counsel, and I used to negotiate with lots of different vendors, landlords, right? I negotiated with this one guy. He was a war hero. He was a Vietnam War hero. He flew a helicopter in Vietnam. He got shot down. He was a legitimate hero. And he was excitable. So I'd be negotiating with him, and he'd say to me, "Hey, we got to get this trial. I'll tell you, you mess with me, I'll come out, I'll burn your house down." Right? I will. I'll burn your house down. I'm not kidding. And it turned out he had served 5 years for arson. Right? He burned somebody's house down. He wasn't kidding. One time I met him down in downtown in a high-rise. As we got off the elevator, there was a sign that said "fire drill today." I said, "Oh, they must know you're in the building." He thought that was a riot. He was laughing his head off. "Oh, that's a good one." So here's a guy that's really a character. But if his building had burned down from arson, they would have never paid it. They would have said, "Look, we know you burned it down." Right? But remember, when he burned somebody else's house down, that was insured. That guy had nothing to do with it, right? So that's what this means. Fortuitous means accidental and unintended from the standpoint of the insured. Okay? Our next characteristic is the law should be definite and measurable. should be able to say who, what, when, and where the loss happened. Okay, because remember, insurance companies are sold with terms. It could be January 1 to December 31st. They're covering all the losses during that 12-month period. But that's why they need to know when did it happen. If you ever call in a claim, that's the first thing they ask, when did this happen? They want to know the date of loss, right? So that's our first three. Our fourth is that the risk that they're going to try to insure should be independent and not catastrophic to the insurer. Okay. Independent means, that's really the key, see. If they're writing something, say they're writing homeowners insurance, fire insurance, and they insure one house on the block. That house burns down, they're okay. They've got all the surplus and all, they can pay for the loss, right? The problem is when they go to underwrite something and it affects a large area, right? Such as an earthquake, right? Such as an earthquake. Hundreds of houses might be destroyed, might be wrecked, right? You know, they get knocked off their moorings, they become structurally defective, right? How about a flood, right? A flood doesn't just affect one house, right? A flood affects miles and miles of areas. Entire neighborhoods can be underwater, right? So a flood does not meet this criteria of being independent. All right? If your house has been a victim of a flood, you're not the only one. Your neighbors have also been hit by a flood. So it's not independent. See what I mean? Now you can have fires that affect 3 or 4 houses, row houses, but that's still not the scale of a flood, right? Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying they cannot insure against flood?
That's correct.
And there's no flood insurance?
Well, there is flood insurance, but the government, the federal government, reinsures 100% of it. Yeah, that's really why. The insurance companies got to the point where they said, you know what, we can't do this. This is crazy. So they said, we're not offering flood anymore. And the federal government said, okay, we'll do it. You guys sell the policies, we'll pay the losses. So that's how it works. But your questions are going.
Wait, so if they set up policies and the government pay them, do the government get the policies?
Yeah, the government gets the premiums. Yeah. Yep.
Is it the government do that just because they're just not as good as insurance companies are at assessing things and taking care of the issues?
The claims, you mean?
Just like they're facilitating.
Yeah, that's right. The insurance companies handle the claims and all that stuff. Okay. All right, next, an economically feasible premium. Now, it can't be too high or no one's going to buy it, right? So it has to be economically feasible. And lastly, we have to have a large number of exposure units. And why is that? That's right, that's good. To spread the risk. They want to make sure that, but what else do they want to be able to do?
Pooling?
Yeah, solvability. Forecasting the probability.
Forecasting the probability, that's right. A large number of exposure units gives them a sound basis to forecast what the likely losses are going to be for the year and to set their premiums, right? You know, you hear about, you know, an actress showing her legs or a singer showing her voice. How do they do that? I don't know. Lloyd's comes up with these things, but I think it's more just a guess than anything else. But that's generally the exception. You know, the standard insurance companies, they go by these factors. This is what they want for something to be insurable. Okay? Okay. All right, I think this is a good place for us to take our break, okay? So let's take a 6-minute break.